The cabin lights were dim. Passengers were half asleep, wrapped in blankets, watching movies, or staring out at endless blue clouds. It was the kind of flight people would forget the moment they landed. In seat 18A, a 12-year-old girl sat quietly by the window. Her name was Emily Carter. She had short brown hair tied back loosely and a small backpack under her feet. Instead of watching a movie, she was drawing in a notebook, careful sketches of airplanes, wings, and cockpit panels. Every line was precise, practiced. Flying made her feel close to her father. He'd been an Air Force pilot. Before he died in a training accident 2 years ago, he used to bring Emily into simulators, letting her sit beside him while he explained instruments, emergency procedures, and radio calls. He never treated her like a child. "Planes don't care how old you are," he once said. "They only care if you know what you're doing." Emily never forgot that. The seatbelt sign was off. A flight attendant pushed a cart down the aisle. Everything was normal. Then the sky shattered. A deafening explosion slammed through the aircraft. The left engine erupted in a ball of fire, sending a violent shockwave through the fuselage. The plane lurched hard to the side. Overhead bins burst open, bags crashing down. Coffee flew through the air like rain. People screamed. The cabin lights flickered, then emergency lights snapped on. Oxygen masks dropped suddenly, swinging from the ceiling like white ghosts. Emily's notebook flew from her hands. She grabbed the armrests as the plane shook violently. The roar outside wasn't just engine noise, it was metal tearing itself apart. In the cockpit, chaos exploded. Warning alarms screamed all at once. Fire indicators flashed red. Smoke poured in through the vents. Captain Harris fought the controls as the aircraft yawed left. "Engine failure, fire," he shouted, reaching for the suppression system. Before he could finish, the plane jolted again. His head slammed forward. Everything went dark. The co-pilot lunged for the controls, but a sudden pressure surge threw him sideways. His shoulder struck the panel. The last thing he saw was the artificial horizon spinning wildly, then silence. Both pilots lay unconscious. The aircraft began to descend. In the cabin, panic spread faster than fire. A mother clutched her baby, crying. A man shouted prayers. Someone tried to stand and fell back as the plane dropped again. The sound of rushing air grew louder, heavier. A flight attendant grabbed the intercom with shaking hands. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, her voice breaking, "we've experienced a technical emergency. Please remain seated." The plane jolted again, harder. She swallowed. Is there any pilot on board? Any pilot, please press your call button." The cabin held its breath. Seconds passed. No. Emily pulled the oxygen mask over her face, her heart pounding, but her mind was strangely clear. She listened carefully. The descent alarm wailed. "Answer." The alarms were familiar, too familiar. She unbuckled her seatbelt. The flight attendant noticed her standing and rushed over. "Sweetheart, sit down, please." "I know those alarms," Emily said calmly. The attendant froze. "What?" "The left engine is gone," Emily continued, "and the autopilot disconnected." The woman stared at her, confused and terrified. How do you know that?" Emily looked up at her. "My dad taught me." Another violent shake ripped through the cabin. Outside, the burning engine tore free completely, spiraling away in flames. The aircraft dropped suddenly, sending screams echoing again. Emily didn't scream. She stood steady. "I need to see the cockpit," she said. The attendant shook her head in disbelief. "You're a child." Emily's eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed firm. "I'm also the only one here who knows how to fly this plane." Silence. Around them, passengers watched, desperate, clinging to any sign of hope. The attendant's radio crackled with static. She looked at the cockpit door, then back at Emily. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Emily Carter." She hesitated, then whispered, "My dad called me Phoenix." "Why Phoenix?" "Because he said I rise when everything is burning." The plane dropped another 1,000 feet. Far below, military radar operators noticed the sudden, uncontrolled descent. A commercial aircraft, off course, losing altitude fast. An alert went out. 2 Black Hawk helicopters were already in the air on a training mission nearby. Their orders changed instantly. Intercept Flight 917. Back inside the cabin, the flight attendant made a decision she would remember forever. She opened the cockpit door. Smoke rolled out. Emily stepped forward. As she crossed the threshold, the weight of the moment hit her, not as fear but as responsibility. 183 lives depended on what she did next. She took a deep breath. Her father's voice echoed in her memory. Focus, aviate, communicate. Emily sat down in the co-pilot's seat. The instruments glowed wildly. Outside, the sky waited, and somewhere on the radio, help was coming. But only if she could hold the plane together long enough. The smell of burnt metal filled her lungs, sharp and bitter. Warning lights flashed everywhere, red, amber, angry. The control yoke vibrated beneath her hands as the aircraft continued its uncontrolled descent. She forced herself to breathe. Aviate first, her father's voice echoed in her mind. Emily scanned the instruments, just like she had done 100 times in simulators. Airspeed was dropping too fast. Altitude unwinding like a clock spinning backward. The autopilot light was dark. She reached forward and stabilized the yoke, correcting the roll. The plane responded. Just a little, but enough. That's it, she whispered. Easy. Behind her, the flight attendant stood frozen in the doorway, watching in disbelief as the child in front of her fought a commercial jet back from the edge of the sky. Emily reached for the radio. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. Mayday, Mayday, this is Flight 917. We have lost an engine. Both pilots are unconscious. I am attempting manual control. Static answered. She adjusted the frequency. Mayday, anyone copy? A sharp, clear voice cut through the noise. Flight 917, this is Black Hawk Alpha. We have you on radar. Identify the pilot. Emily swallowed hard. This is call sign Phoenix. There was silence. Then Phoenix, confirm your identity. I'm 12 years old, Emily said, but I can fly. I need vectors and altitude guidance. In the cabin, the flight attendant's knees nearly buckled. On the other end of the radio, the Black Hawk pilot didn't laugh. He didn't question her skills. He heard the calm. Copy that, Phoenix, he replied. We're with you now. Outside the cockpit window, two dark shapes appeared. Black Hawk helicopters, their rotors slicing the air, sliding into formation like guardian angels. Emily's chest tightened, but not with fear, with relief. Phoenix, the pilot continued, you're descending too fast. Reduce pitch. Maintain 250 knots. Emily nodded instinctively and adjusted the controls. The descent slowed. The screaming alarms softened slightly. Passengers felt it too. The violent shaking eased into something survivable. People began to cry, not in terror now, but in fragile hope. Good correction, Black Hawk Alpha said. You're doing great. Emily focused, blocking everything else out. Fire suppression indicators showed the left engine was gone, completely separated. The right engine was holding, but stressed. Fuel imbalance, she said quietly, adjusting trim. I need a runway. We're clearing one now, Alpha replied. Nearest military airfield is 15 minutes out. You can make it. 15 minutes felt like a lifetime. The captain groaned behind her. Emily glanced back. Stay with us, she whispered. She flew. Minute by minute, the Black Hawks guided her. Headings, altitude, speed. Each command was clear, each response precise. Her father's lessons came back like muscle memory. Trust the instruments. Ignore the fear. Fly the plane. The runway lights finally appeared through thinning clouds, a long strip of white against the dark earth. There it is, Alpha said. Line up, flaps to landing configuration. Emily's hands shook harder now. This was the part no simulator ever felt real enough. The plane was heavy, too fast, too high. Phoenix, you're coming in hot, Alpha warned. Pull back slightly, reduce throttle. Emily did. Easy, easy, the voice urged. The aircraft dropped suddenly. She corrected. The ground rushed up. Passengers braced. Prayers filled the cabin. The wheels hit the runway with a bone-shaking slam. The plane bounced once, twice, then came down hard again. Tires screamed. Sparks flew. Emily held the yoke steady, fighting the urge to overcorrect. Stay with it, Alpha said calmly. You've got it. The brakes engaged. The plane slowed. Runway lights blurred past. Then finally the aircraft rolled to a stop. Silence for one heartbeat. Then the cabin erupted. People cried openly, strangers hugged. A man dropped to his knees. Applause thundered through the fuselage. In the cockpit, Emily's hand slipped from the controls. She burst into tears. The Black Hawk hovered overhead. "Phoenix," the pilot said softly over the radio, "you just saved 183 lives." Emily wiped her face, looking at the empty captain's seat. "My dad would have done the same," she whispered. "You did," Alpha replied, "and you flew beautifully." Emergency crews surrounded the aircraft. Medics rushed in. The pilots were taken out alive. As Emily stepped off the plane, the passengers formed a silent path. One by one they clapped, not loudly, not wildly, but with reverence. A small girl, a broken plane, and a sky that didn't win. Later that night, as helicopters faded into the distance, Emily looked up at the stars. Somewhere between them, she felt her father smiling.